The story starts with our protagonist Makise Joji, 26, a pitiful cog in society's machine, all exhausted going back to his home with his food. There's no will left in him to work anymore. He's struggling with an unreasonable boss, endless overtime, a bleak future and a corrupt company. A perfect corporate slave starter pack. He just wants to escape and spend his life peacefully in the countryside, surrounded by adorable dogs and cats. His introspection comes to a halt when he suddenly hears an animal cry. When he went to check on it, he couldn't believe his eyes as that sound was from a dragon child. Now, the story gives a short environment introduction where decades ago dungeons suddenly took over in Japan. They continued to multiply and caused great chaos around the world. To make it more worse, monsters emerged from those dungeons, which scrambled the nations to find countermeasures. But with time and research in development of defensive measures, the threat had vastly diminished at present. The situation was so good that explorers who brought back resources from dungeon visits became a legit profitable profession. Back to our man Makise, checking on the weakened monster child. The monster was pretty bruised up with terrible injuries. As he got close to the monster, he was welcomed with strong retaliation, which scared the shit out of him. Despite being scared, he gathered some courage and moved forward as the little one was near death. Fortunately, Makise was pretty good at healing magic in his school. Makise healed the dog, and that made the little monster really affectionate towards Makise. Makise was happy to see him in a better state and a bit confused about how a monster is showing love towards a human. Now Makise wonders about the next step as there was no one around, and also there was a legal obligation to report monster sightings in urban areas. This silence around the environment suddenly fades away when a group of giant spider monsters attack him. Makise, all terrified, sprinted for his life, and that's when our little monster shows his true capabilities by blasting a laser cannon from mouth, incinerating the group in a single throw. The impact was so strong enough to throw Makise in the trash. Makise was for sure amazed with that exhibition of power. Soon, 2 police officers, 1 male and 1 female, came to the scene for investigation, and even they were shocked to see the scene along with the presence of a dragon child, as such cases were extremely rare. This occurrence was almost so unprecedented that TV stations might come to Makise for interviews. Makise asked them whether it was allowed for him to take the little one home. To his surprise, it was totally fine as tamed monsters were considered a person's own property. He was just required to file an application at the city office, and that's all. The female officer was completely in awe by the little monster and suggested Makise to upload videos of the little one on social media, as such videos were hugely popular. She even said that people became millionaires and owned mansions by monetizing cat videos. Every man of culture knows how rich one can become by uploading cat videos. This took both Makise and the male officer by surprise, as they couldn't believe that video creators earned so much. This gave Makise some hope that his idea of quitting corporate and living the slow life in the countryside wasn't just a dream. But he felt a bit uncomfortable with the idea of raising the little one as a money-making tool, and besides, the lady officer also questioned him on how he would raise him, as breeding a monster costs astronomical. Makise had just imagined himself dying, leaving the little monster behind, as he barely gets food for himself at present. But he shook off all the thoughts and decided to take him home and earn a living for both of them from video uploads. The lady officer assured him of being his first fan, however, the male one didn't share that same enthusiasm. Finally, Makise made it home with the little monster, wishing "I am back home" to absolutely no one in an empty house with unkept trash and undone dishes lying around. His both parents were dead, mother in an accident while he was young and his father when he started working. He wasn't happy to live alone in a left-behind house. After prayer, both Makise and the little monster had a bath. It felt good to be all cleaned up, and Makise started wondering how to get started with the social media thing. He had a social media account from his college time, but he always watched videos and never made them. Makise had the same old tasteless convenience store bento as his dinner, and also fed some fried chicken to the little monster, as dragons were omnivorous and could eat anything. The little dragon found his dinner delicious. He also recorded some videos of the little dragon eating, as it looked adorable. Makise was happy to have a meal with someone after a very long time, and it felt nostalgic as it reminded him of the time when his parents were alive. After capturing sufficient videos and photos, Makise wondered what to name the little dragon. As it looked all black with white belly, he was reminded of a time of his childhood when his mother made him his favorite dish, ohagi. And that was all he needed. He named the little dragon ohagi. Finally, I was getting tired of referring to him as the little one. Mikise started posting and wondered what to keep as a caption. After some time, he successfully made his first post and went to bed as he felt sleepy. While he was preparing himself for his next day, which was an off, but he still had lots of chores to do, including the breeding application. He also wondered if he should take Ohagi to a vet too. Ohagi followed him to bed and snuggled him. Mikise, seeing an adorable creature beside him, felt extremely happy and went to sleep snuggling Ohagi as their streaming life began the next day. While both were asleep, a notification popped up in Mikise's phone as Rion liked your post. The adventure is about to begin. The next morning, Mikise's phone was flooded with notifications, and the bell wouldn't go off even for a second. His posts were bombarded with various comments, some adoring Ohagi, some being baffled with the fact of a dragon being raised by a human, and the rest were just criticizing Mikise for the absurd name. Also, a popular dungeon streamer, Rion, found Ohagi interesting and hoped that Mikise would magically approach her for a collaboration stream. Mikise, all surprised and excited, went to the office, but his mind was all focused on how to move further with social media. There his junior colleague Ushimaki greets him. She's a weird girl who pulls all-nighters like nothing and drinks caffeine like water. Mikise showed concern and asked her to take care of herself as that habit of hers to pull all-nighters on a daily basis wasn't good for health. But Ushimaki didn't bother as she had a dream of succeeding as a supernova and becoming famous. Mikise wished her a good day and was leaving to start his work. That's when Mikise and Ushimaki heard something along the lines of, "You're too energetic today swinging those boobs around." This was from none other than the president of the company, the guy who made everyone's life hell in the company as per Mikise. The president asked Ushimaki to use those magnificent boobs of hers to catch some clients for the company. This was somewhat needed, as under this president's rule, the company had a disgraceful reputation as an agency for explorers that looked down on explorers. The president takes Ushimaki's no response as a lead and pushes her to even become his personal secretary to have some good time. Bro thought his 2 strands of hair on the chin as a beard stood him a chance. Ushimaki respectfully declined him, and Mikise politely reminded him that his actions are outright sexual harassment. The president just brushes him off, saying that he's just having a healthy interaction with his employees. Now another colleague comes in, takes the president away for some document work and informs Mikise that there's a visitor waiting for him. Mikise, all surprised, leaves as he wasn't expecting a visit that early in the work. There was Hazama Genki, PR departmental manager of Nagano Pharmaceuticals, along with his employee Furuhata Kazuyoshi, who turned out to be Mikise's university friend. Mikise greeted both of them. Nagano was a major pharmaceuticals company specialized in health foods and supplements. They were also in the business of portable food products for dungeon exploration. They offered their energy drink to cheer up Mikise. The conversation quickly shifted to important business. Hazama wanted Ohagi to promote their company's new product. Mikise couldn't believe what he heard. He asked how they knew about Ohagi. Furuhata told him that it was very rare for Mikise to post something, and his post of Ohagi went mega viral. Even they were surprised to find that the Mikise was the owner of the trending dragon. They wanted Masike to promote their product through Ohagi in social media uploads. They assured him that their request is totally personal and all the due credit will be his. His company had no relation to it. Furuhata also convinces him by saying that his dream of independence could come true if this collaboration goes well. Masike was convinced and very excited about that as he could sense his dreams coming to life, but he had no idea of his surroundings. Blood forgot that he's in corporate and things aren't that strawberry there. The president heard all the conversation and was displeased with Masike's plan to grow with Ohagi. Now he's also interested in Ohagi. After winding up everything, Masike left first and was also accompanied by Ushimaki. While going back, Ushimaki asked Masike about the conversation with the visitor. Masike explained to her all about the opportunity and how he's planning to start filming as soon as possible. This made Ushimaki go full-blown on Masike. Even Masike got scared of such sudden surge in her enthusiasm. She requested Masike to let her on board with him in this project. Before Masike could decline her, she got all crying and started clinging on him, requesting to please let her in. She wanted to contribute as she didn't want to continue in the company where she was underpaid and sexually harassed. Also, her own VTube venture wasn't going very well and she had debt to pay as well. Even the public gathered there to have a watch, but this didn't bother Ushimaki at all, and she threw a full-blown performance mid-street, saying, "I'll do anything for you. I'll serve you faithfully, master, so please don't abandon me." Sounds exactly like a job pitch. This scared the shit out of Masike as he didn't know how to get himself out of this and public embarrassment. In addition to that, he had to let her in, and he was a bit relieved as Uzumaki knew some valuable things like video editing and thumbnail creation. He could use that for his content. They both reach Masike's home and Uzumaki just forces herself to find Ohagi with excitement. Masike thought Ohagi would probably be sleeping, but he got proved wrong in a split second when Ohagi dashed on him, knocking him over the entrance itself. She was excited to see Masike back after a long day, but at the same time she was scared of Uzumaki, and Uzumaki's over-enthusiastic approach towards Ohagi didn't help as well. But Uzumaki had a master plan for that. She cooked dinner for all of them because as per her animals, monsters and boys would fall in love with her if their stomachs were kept full. Masike and Ohagi both were delighted with the food they were served by Uzumaki. After dinner, they quickly settled up for the shoot, and that's when Uzumaki pulled out her prized possession, a high-performance magical camera popular amongst dungeon streamers. They shot a video where they showed how Ohagi liked Dragon Energy, a portable gummies by Nagano Pharmaceuticals, which was also their sponsor, and how it was perfect for dungeon explorers. The frizzy carbonation was perfect for taste, and the product got government approval as well. They were impressed by their single-take output, and the rest was for Uzumaki to take care of. She was confident that she'll turn their video into a viral one. This was the moment for her to show her expertise that she gained with her failed venture. Masike was just admired by the sheer dedication that Uzumaki had for their project, but for Uzumaki it was just her sheer love for the craft and sense of freedom. He complimented her for this. Uzumaki was delighted to hear that, and even she was admired by his ability to handle daily overtime at such a black workplace. This suddenly made Masike all serious, and he gave a Uzumaki to golden corporate advice: always keep a resignation letter tucked away in your bags. Bro's more like a corporate veteran, guiding juniors all the way to bankruptcy. He also added that such a mindset makes us stronger. A bit scared with his delivery and expression, Uzumaki took that for future reference. After adding some eating scenes and editing, they were ready with the video the next morning. The fruit of their hard labor was in Masike's hand, stored in a SSD. Both of them had bags in their eyes as they barely slept in the night. Masike thanked Uzumaki again for her help and was going to contact Furuhata right away for further discussion. But this is corporate, how things could go so smoothly. The president out of nowhere came and snatched the SSD from Masike's hand. The president acted all sweet and innocent, praising Masike for working all night for a company project. Masike and Uzumaki, all scared, retaliated, saying that wasn't company data and asking for it back. The president smirked and said he knew all along about Nagano Pharmaceuticals' deal with Masike. The next thing that president made Masike lose all shit. The president asked him to hand Ohagi over to the company. The president had plans to use Ohagi as the company's mascot and revive his black company. Masike and Uzumaki just couldn't understand how the president got to know about any of this. Masike, all shocked, just stood there trying to comprehend the situation and to add fuel to the fire. The president said it was all fair as he would offer him a promotion in exchange of Ohagi. This snapped Masike, and he just took the president by the collar and warned him to not treat Ohagi as a money-making object. Ohagi and Masike just grew closer in just a short period of time. She reminded him of how small things in life can make you happy, and now she's precious to Masike's existence. No matter what, Masike would protect Ohagi at all cost. As we can expect, the president didn't take that well because he's a jerk and was pissed at how Masike held him by his collar. Uzumaki got very scared by their heated confrontation and tried to intervene to help Masike. All enraged, the president didn't like that action of Uzumaki and slapped her to get her off. Meiki was stunned by what he witnessed at that moment, but fortunately, the department manager came in at the very moment and got hold of Uzumaki. Even before the president could brush him off, the manager directly handed him a bunch of resignation letters from all the employees and informed him that the company could no longer put up his arrogant behavior. Also, some officers from the Labor Standards Office came and dragged him away from the office. Masike and Uzumaki couldn't comprehend any of all was happening around them, and asked the manager to throw some light on them. The manager gladly informed me that he himself was considering going all independent for a very long time, and was just waiting for the right moment to strike. The manager also told him that he knew about Masike's story and wished him luck for his venture. Meanwhile, the president, not so happy with getting dragged out of his own, screaming his lungs out and cursing his employees as traitors. Surprisingly, Uzumaki ran after him, giving him hopes of some affection, but psych, she threw her resignation letter on his face. Her senpai's advice was right after all. After such a traumatic experience at their office, Masake was all set to enter the world of dungeon exploration. But let's go back to a few days ago where he along with Ushimaki took Ohagi to Kawazokeru, a vet who informed them that Ohagi is diagnosed with metabolic syndrome despite being just a child. But this was due to this new lifestyle which lead to magic and combat deficiency. The doctor then explained the concept of spirits and how it is different for humans and dragons. Spirits were magical life forms made purely of energy. These spirits generates magical power, allowing the use of magic. For humans, it wasn't a power that originally existed as the time of chaos that occurred decades ago due to dungeon appearances. The government inoculated young citizens with spirits as a countermeasure. But for monsters it was different as spirits were naturally present and was important for even basic bodily functions. Ohagi's current situation was poor spirit growth due to negligible magic use. He advised Masake to let Ohagi use her magic freely in a dungeon. He even complimented him for his healing magic as he healed Ohagi's both internal and external injuries without any aftereffects. This was a clear sign and a perfect opportunity for Masake to make his exploration debut. Masake and Ushimaki went to the Explorer Management Bureau, popularly known as Guild. They took a token number and were waiting in the lobby. Their Masake was overwhelmed by the presence of such huge, strong and experienced explorers. Ushimaki suggested him to get an escort to take care of combat. She also shared him a good news with him that their Nagano Pharmaceuticals video was doing exponentially well and their monetization was also approved. They were all set for dungeon streaming. A huge man who appeared to be a danger heard that and asked them about their plans of dungeon streaming. This scared both of them, and the scene looked like a classic weaklings should go home. But that was not the case, and he was actually a fan of Ohagi and was looking forward to their streams. Other explorers heard their conversation and the next second Masake and Ushimaki were surrounded by everyone and their cameras to get a glimpse of Ohagi. A strange woman came and evacuated them to a safe place. The woman was Kuroko Hanzo, an explorer who agreed to join them and be Masake's escort. From registration to exploration procedures, she helped them with everything. She was glad to help them as she herself was a huge fan of Ohagi. Hanzo informed Masake about some crucial things like exploration permit and most importantly exploration time limit. They together proceeded to enter the dungeon and get started with their first exploration. Masake and Ohagi's adventures of exploration begins. Masake and Hanzo were just a step away from the dungeon and as they entered Hanzo explained how people's fascination and the sudden appearance of a crystal tree and monsters decades ago gave birth to their profession of explorers. Now the situation was much better and regulated but Masake should still keep his guard on. Now, they entered and Masake saw the first glimpse of inside the dungeon, a huge dense forest and clear sky with crystal tree that stood tall. Masake was astonished with what he saw and Ohagi couldn't control herself as she was finally in a free playground. They were in a designated friendly zone and the monsters there were weak. Also, they didn't have any particular target. They decided to just roam and casually explore the environment. But before that Masake started the most important thing to start the stream. Bro had his priorities sorted, to explore, earn huge loads of money. The stream instantly got an impressive watching and Hanzo decided to not reveal herself and keep it professional. Well, things shouldn't go that easy in a dungeon, right? While Masake was busy with his stream, 3 monsters attacked them as a welcome gesture. Even before Hanzo or Masake could think of anything, Ohagi just blasted a massive beam out of her mouth and boom, monsters were dead. They both praised Ohagi for that, but Hanzo asked her to tone down her firepower a bit. Now, as they were planning how to move further, Ohagi strangely saw something and flew straight towards it. Masake, concerned, ran behind her, followed by Hanzo. It was a wounded wolf that caught Ohagi's attention. When Masake saw that, he didn't think of anything and just ran to help the wolf, but Hanzo didn't share that same impulse and stopped Masake as it could be a trap and dangerous. Masake heard her but still chose to take that bold step and heal the wolf. The moment Masake reached the wolf and tried to heal the wolf, he heard Hanzo scream to look up, and there, Hanzo was right, a arachne-like looking monster was there hanging on a tree like a predator. The monster just bolted towards Masake with full bloodlust. But thanks to Hanzo's agility, she saved Masake just on time. Now, they were surrounded by the monster and his reinforcements. Hanzo was tense as in that situation protecting Masake and escaping were impossible. Masake, on the other hand, was not concerned at all about the situation and just wanted to heal the wolf. He casted maximum buffs and ran again to heal. He apologized to Hanzo as he knew what he was doing was unreasonable and could lead to the death of all of them, but he couldn't give up on the life he could save. Hanzo just stood there astonished and wondered why he would desperately go so far to help a wounded wolf that he just met. But at the same time, she realized that it was the same reason why Ohagi chose Masake. Hanzo collected herself and braced herself like a ninja and covered Masake. Ohagi was trying her best blasting multiple beams, but it wasn't enough as the enemy was fast enough. Masake was struggling to heal the wolf, as something was interfering. He was trying his best to concentrate, and then he heard a voice saying, "Human, I shall lend you a hand." The great wolf awakens to team up. Masake snapped to reality when he heard that and wondered if it was Hanzo's voice, and after seeing Hanzo fully immersed in battle, he realized it was the wolf's voice. He just stood there, all confused, seeing a bright ray of light flowing between the wolf and himself. And that's when he remembered the time when he took Ohagi to Dr. Kawazu, where he explained that the reason Masake could talk to Ohagi is because they both are connected. When a strong bond is formed between a human and a monster, it connects the spirits, allowing communication. It's also called taming. Now all the things started making sense and the wolf asked Masake to accept his request. Bro was bonding with monsters like catching Pokémons. All the enormous energy coming out of the wolf got into Masake and formed a crystal in his hand. He didn't really get of what's happening, but he threw that crystal to Ohagi and oh boy, that turned Ohagi from a cute little monster to a humongous and shredded monster. Girl had a titan-like transformation there. Both Masake and Hanzo were confused as they couldn't believe their eyes. Well, the monster was a bit different, didn't waste a second there and ran from the scene. Meanwhile, Ohagi wasn't in the mood for forgiveness. She blasted a wide and massive beam incinerating the monster and a whole passage out of the forest. After the intense battle, Masake managed to completely heal the wolf and there was no sign of more enemies around as well. Masake was still shocked to see his Ohagi all buffed up and wondered whether it would turn back to normal or not. Hanzo was also amazed to see that Masake has tamed another monster, this time a big wolf. As they were talking, Ohagi turned back to normal quite sooner than expected. The wolf now was a part of their team. Now Masake did the most important thing, i.e. to engage with the live audience and concluded his first dungeon stream. Bro even performed the drill of like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Hanzo thought of reporting the presence of an unknown monster in the beginner's dungeon and pulled out a cube-like thing that she used to magically store the residual of the monster they just defeated. Masake out of curiosity asked about that thing. Hanzo explained that it was an item box that allows to store defeated monsters, corpses, and materials. Masake wasn't very impressed, as it couldn't be used for storing streaming gear. An unknown slug caught Masake's eyes crawling around at the spot of the monster's corpse. Even Hanzo didn't know what that was and decided to store that as well. They both together also wondered how the wolf would have lost to that monster, as the wolf himself was quite strong. The wolf told Masake that there were other enemies who attacked him and caught him off guard. Those enemies were not there anymore, and the wounds they left made him weak for the arachne monster to attack him. This revelation made Hanzo realize that the wolf was the reason for reports of only weak monsters from that area, because all of the others were taken care of by the wolf. Hanzo decided to bring immediate attention of the guild authorities to investigate this matter. Now, all of them are back to Kawazu Animal Hospital and Dr. Kawazu was glad to see them and also the new member. While Hanzo greeted the doctor, Masake asked how those two knew each other, and Hanzo revealed that Dr. Kawazu was originally renowned in the field of monster research. He helped the guild and was very respected among the explorers community. Doctor examined both Ohagi and the wolf and confirmed that both of them were healed and also in a good shape. Hanzo requested the doctor to examine the slug creature that they found in the dungeon. While everyone was there, a dog named Lucky also came running along with her owner for a checkup. While they were there, suddenly the slug slipped out of Doctor's hand and fell on Lucky. Oh boy, that completely transformed him in a second. From a cute little puppy to a buffed up aggressive monster and started ferociously growling. All of them got scared, but the wolf handled the situation by pinning Lucky down. Without wasting further time, Doctor requested both Masake and Hanzo to immediately come into the examination room and help him. After a while, everything calmed down and Lucky was safe. Doctor still decided to keep him overnight just to be safe, but what was shocking is that he revealed that the slug was the one parasitizing Lucky's body and also the arachne and other monsters too. That slug's most of the body was composed of magical energy and they feeded on spirits. They devour the host body's magical energy, increasing aggression, and altering the physical form of the host. The details weren't complete, but they made a lot of sense for Masik and Hanzo, considering their battle in the dungeon. Masik, worried, asked Doctor whether Ohagi and others were infected too. Doctor assured him that he had thoroughly checked them and they were all safe. But Doctor warned them to be careful and not let this knowledge go out in public, and also asked Hanzo to request the guild to investigate this matter secretly. To lighten the mood, Ushimaki came there, and she was extremely happy to see her senpai back from exploration. She praised the stream and also the nail-biting battle they had. She asked Masik to name the wolf. Based on how calm, composed and mature he was, Masik wanted to keep a sophisticated name. Then he came up with the name Zenzai. Ushimaki wasn't exactly impressed by that, but she found his style of naming unique. They finally let go off all the tension and decided to celebrate the addition of Zenzai and the successful completion of their first dungeon exploration. Ushimaki cooked a great dinner with premium meat. Meanwhile, Hanzo handed over the slug to the guild and asked them to urgently investigate. Dr. Kawazu will also continue his research and report his findings. However, a strange, mysterious man with a covered face was listening to everything from behind. Masik now got a collaboration opportunity from Monster Park. It was a playground for monsters, like a combination of a dog park and a zoo, divided into two sections with one for monsters to freely play and one for humans to comfortably relax and interact. Masik was welcomed by Gyobu Fukujiro, the director of the park, and he was surprised to see that the park was bombarded by Ohagi fans. Inside there lots of games and play areas which excited both Masik and Ohagi a lot, but Zenzai didn't share that same enthusiasm. Our big boy was playing a chill guy. Masik asked some other owners there if Ohagi could join their monsters, and they happily agreed too until they saw Zenzai, whose huge intimidating presence scared the shit out of everyone. A fluffy tanuki-like looking monster approached Ohagi, and Masik wondered where he had seen that. That's when a girl came and greeted Masik along with a compliment for his streams. The girl was Gyobu Chacha, and that tanuki was her pet Bunbuku. They were also very popular in the streaming world by the name Bunbuku Diary. After he heard her name, Masik realized that she's also the granddaughter of the director of the monster park. She was Masik's heart comfort during his corporate slavery days. Damn man, we almost forgot this was all about corporate slavery at some point. Chacha offered to show him around the park, and they let Ohagi and Bunbuku play around together. She did something weird, enabling some BL vision, and started thirsting over Ohagi and Zenzai. Masik didn't get that and didn't bother that much. Chacha first showed him around the monsters salon, where Zenzai got a full body wash, which he kind of seemed to enjoy. Masik and his monsters were having the time of their life as they enjoyed everything from hot springs, air baths to tasty meals at fancy restaurants. While eating, Masik and Chacha heard someone creating a ruckus, and when they checked, Masik couldn't believe who he saw. It was the bastard Akubawa, the president from his ex-company, and he wondered what he was doing there. He approached him and asked the reason for his presence in the park. Surprisingly, Akubawa also had a monster along with him, and he came to play as a customer. His monster was an odd-looking slime with a strange machine on his top. Chacha intervened and assertively asked him to not smoke in the park. Obviously, Akubawa's retarded head couldn't understand professional language. He didn't take that well and shoved his cigarette on his monster's head. Masik and Chacha couldn't believe what they saw. Though Masik expected nothing better of him, he still asked him whether Akubawa is really that monster's owner. When Akubawa tried to retaliate, he was overwhelmed when he saw Zenzai standing behind Masike. He tried to play generously and left from there. Chacha thanked Masik for his help, and just wondered how people still could treat monsters as an object. She expressed that long ago, when things weren't that great and humanity feared monsters, her grandfather believed that monsters and humans could form a healthy relationship, and that's why he built the Monster Park facility. While Chacha was expressing herself, Akubawa in the back was cooking something filthy, and he let out some slugs out of a bottle. The same slugs that Hanzo gave to the guild and asked them to keep it a secret. Soon Masik and Chacha heard some sounds of chaos, and when they checked they found that monsters had gone berserk, and Bunbuku was one of them. Bunbuku straight jumped to attack Chacha's grandfather, but Zenzai showed up on time and knocked Bunbuku down. Chacha was hurt to see, but Masike assured her that Bunbuku would be all fine. But what shocked and tensed Masik the most was the presence of the slugs. That's when his phone rings with a notification. "Mr. Joji, we have an urgent message for you." Masaik received a call from Hanzo, and she informed him that the arachne's corpse along with the slugs was stolen. Masaik informed her that he was caught up with a commotion caused by those slugs only. Apparently, Dr. Kawazu was also there with Hanzo, and he took over the phone, asked Masaik to either use Ohagi's magic or his own magic, as Ohagi's magic could destroy the slugs as per his investigation. Masaik's magic, if connected through spirits, would have the same effect. Masaik saw Akubawa with a bottle in his hand with slugs in it. He realized that it was his hand behind all the commotion, and Akubawa revealed that he was hired to cause commotion, and he waited for a day when the park would have maximum visitors. His own slime was affected by the slug, and that slime became gigantic. To fight him, Masaik ordered Ohagi to transform into her bigger form. At this point, Bros Ash and Ohagi's Pikachu. Ohagi's attack didn't work as the slime had an armor that was too hard and made Ohagi's magic ineffective. Masaik figured it out and decided to combine his magic with Ohagi's to do a combined attack. This worked as this attack pierced through the armor, letting the slime out of it, and Masaik even formed a connection with it. Everything calmed down and the president got arrested. This news brought Ushimaki back, concerned about Maikis. Even Maikis mentioned the fact that it was third in a row where Masaik connected with a monster. Chacha along with the director came to thank Masaik for saving the park. Ushimaki surprisingly didn't like that and had a beef with Chacha right there over Masaik belongs to whom. From a corporate slave to two girls fighting for him, bro is suffering from success. Makize without much thought added the slime into their team and named it Konten. Now Ushimaki was sure of his weird naming style, but still she found that cute. Next morning, Ushimaki is trying to wake Masaik up to check something outside as there is an exciting new development. A crystal tree formed in his garden like a dungeon. Masaik couldn't believe that a crystal tree exactly like a dungeon sprouted in his garden overnight. While him and Ushimaki were tense about this sudden phenomenon, Ohagi couldn't control her excitement and jumped straight over Masake and Ushimaki, taking all of them directly into the dungeon. This unanticipated action of Ohagi caught them off guard, leading them to fall over. Also Masake got his face crushed by some boobies. After collecting themselves, they decided to initially explore the environment, and for some reason Konten decided to lift Masaik up in the air. For his elevated vision, it was clear that there wasn't a single monster shadow around. The area was very fast as expected from a dungeon. Then, something strange happened. After moving a bit far, Masaik suddenly got teleported back to the entrance near the tree. It seemed the dungeon was designed to bring you back to the entrance area at some points, and the actual area to move was limited yet vast. Ushimaki tried to check some articles on the intents but wasn't available there. That was strange. When Masaik gave some intense thought to it, he realized that the tree grew at the same spot where Ohagi vomited when they were having celebration dinner for Kanton. He didn't bother at that time as he thought of it as Ohagi generally using the washroom at a strange place, but now he had some suspicion of something more to it. It gave birth to dungeon, and this was more solidified when back at the human world. Dr. Kawazu found out that the magical energy of the dungeon exactly matches Ohagi's magical energy. All of them were back and Dr. Kawazu was already there. He told Masaik that this dungeon was highly unusual as every other dungeon had the same magical energy and were connected around the world. But this one had a completely unique magical energy. As per Doctor, it was a specimen worthy of academic representation. Masaik asked Doctor that why suddenly Ohagi created a dungeon, and as per Doctor most probably it was due Masaik's taming. Whenever Masaik tames a monster, Ohagi's magical energy increases, and this time it might have given her the power to create dungeons. The doctor left Masaik's home, and while on his way back, he was still concerned with the Monster Park incident and was worried as there was no clue of who hired Akubawa, and the case of slugs remained unsolved. Ohagi looked up for what to do next with the dungeon, and apparently as per rules the ownership of a dungeon belongs to the landowner with the condition to strictly manage it to prevent monsters from appearing. But it was safe as there were no monsters around in their dungeon and had ample space. Now it was time for them to make their dreams come true, create their own harem. No, it was time for farming. Also Masaik named it Ohagi Dungeon, and yet again, Ushimaki was baffled with his thinking. After some weeding, Masaik decided till the area a bit, but it was too hard for him. Then something diabolical happened. Cantons split into numerous bigger-sized cantons and started tilling the field. Masaik was amazed by that. He also got motivated to do his best. Next day, Masaik was very tired after the fieldwork and got a back pain, though most of the work was done by Kanton. He expected some fruits to grow, but he saw some radishes grown. But it was weird for radishes to grow that fast. Well, it's a dungeon, so nothing strange. But what happened next was even more strange. Those radishes popped out of the field and started beating Mayem. He was terrified by that and also bruised. Zenzai explained to him that those were the monsters that evolved from plant roots, and it was very angry with him. They were extremely unhappy with the field that Mayem plowed. Mayem was pissed by that and he started a new stream on his channel. The audience wasn't very surprised to see that Mayem got new companions yet again. Those radishes decided to plow the field themselves, and surprisingly were ready to be filmed as well. The radishes and Canton joined their hands together and launched a combination technique called a combo attack of slime and mandrake that plowed the field very fast. Efficiency and quality both were off the roofs, and that made Mayem realize why they were unhappy with his field. After the field, the next step was to fertilize. Those mandrakes were even more serious about fertilizing that they did Grand Prix for deciding which fertilizer to use. After fertilizing, Mayem decided to call off the stream and film next at the time of harvest. To reward them, Oshimaki brought some snacks for them to replenish. She was happy to see that Mayem tamed the mandrakes as well. Mayem named those mandrakes as a Scaredy, Captain and Sleepyhead. Any guesses? Yes, Oshimaki was yet again amazed to witness Mayem's IQ when it comes to names. Those mandrakes were still not satisfied with the fertilizer, and Mayem suggested that compost was the way to go. Mayem decided to get in touch with a cow-type monster. For that he contacted Chacha to get some leads. She told him about a cow-type monster called Kaushika. With wide horns and top-quality milk, they were the perfect choice for Mayem as they had Excel compost as well. However, such monsters were mostly owned and managed by big shots and wealthy corporations or state-owned. Unfortunately, it was quite out of reach for individuals. But Chacha had an acquaintance that owned a dungeon with Kaushikas. They had some trouble dealing with those Kaushikas lately, and if Mayem could help them, they might help him in return. Mayem wasn't very optimistic and thought to not mess that up. Next day, Mayem along with Chacha went to bar to meet the owner, and Mayem was amazed when he saw the man and his strong personality.